it would be for a moment and they would go away. This was on a constant, consistent basis, and it made me so angry to the point where I knew that, like I said, either the action stopped or I had to leave for my own good.
And what about the proximity or the closeness to you? Did that exacerbate your problems?
Absolutely, because it felt like I was backed into a corner sometimes when somebody was this close to my face and they were saying comments to me like, "What are you gonna do about it, boy?" And calling me the names like the bitch and the coward. That was provoking and backing me into a corner.
Now I'm going to show you an affidavit that's part of the record. It's exhibit attachment B to the petition that's part of the court record. This was signed by you under oath, wasn't it, in April of 2013?
Yes, it was.
And I'd like to direct your attention. I'm sorry. Your Honor, would you like a copy here?
I'm just pulling it out.
Might be easier if I just give you a freestanding copy.
Thank you.
Paragraphs 4 and 5. Well, first of all, let me ask you, is this affidavit that you swore to true and accurate?
Yes.
With regard to paragraphs 4 and 5, since December of 2012, from your point of view, have you been harassed by the defendants?
Yes.
Paragraph 18. It indicated back in April of 2013 that you had been considering quitting your job and that you had expressed that to supervisors at the city. Is that true?
Yes.
It also says that you didn't want to quit your job as a PEO. Is that also accurate, sir?
Yes.
And so what led to the resignation? Why did you quit your job?
It just, I didn't feel like there was an end in sight. I didn't feel that these individuals would stop regardless. I didn't feel that any positive result would happen in our favor. I just didn't honestly see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it just, like I said, it got to the point where it crossed over into my personal life, and I knew that was a line I didn't want to deal with, because when it crosses over into my personal life and my family, I get defensive of my family. And I didn't want to put myself into that, or my family into that situation anymore.
If there were an injunction issued by the court keeping these folks 30 feet back from you when you were working, would it have made a difference to you?
I think it probably would have. It would have allowed me the freedom to walk without having to have interactions, like I said before, where people would not get out of my way and count me and ask me what I was going to do about it. It would have gave me the space where I didn't have to hear the constant comments in my ear all the time. It would at least be from a distance.
I don't have any further questions on correct. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
sir. My name is John Meyer.
Morning.
All right, sir, aside from your testimony here, are you currently employed?
Where?
Are you currently employed?
With the city?
No, I'm sorry, do you have any current employment aside from being paid to testify here?
Yes.
All right, who is your current employer?
Why is that relevant?
No, that's, sir, your job as a witness is to
Because you
answer
have
the
to, you have
question.
to, I understand if you have, you know, could you just identify the employer? It's a pertinent question, and you have to answer the question.
I'm employed by Apria Healthcare.
What's the name of the place?
Apria Healthcare.
How do you spell the first name?
APRIA.
And what is your position?
I'm a delivery technician.
What do you do?
I deliver oxygen and home care equipment to people in need.
Is that a full-time or part-time job?
It's a part-time job with the possibility of full-time hours. It's not like it's cut off at a part-time hour job.
And how much are you paid?
I'm paid $15 an hour.
Do you enjoy your job?
I do.
When did you begin work?
I began work the next week after I left employment with the city.
How many hours a week do you currently work?
It varies. It varies from 32 to 40 plus hours, depending on the jobs.
Do you see this job as being a career opportunity?
I don't know. I mean, it could be.
And where is it located?
It's located in Keene.
Now, in terms of your position as a parking enforcement officer, what was your last employment prior to that?
I'm sorry, what was my last
When
name?
was your last employment prior to that? Prior to going to work for the city?
I worked in corrections.
What was your position in corrections?
I was the booking supervisor on third shift.
And when did you leave that position?
I believe I left that in, it was either the end of August or the beginning of September of 2012. I'm not sure the exact day, I'm sorry.
Why did you leave?
I left it for normal hours for my wife and my family and I, because I was working 11 to 7, and I wanted a normal schedule for my family and I.
And you began work in the city in December, is that correct?
I began working for the city in September.
September?
Yes, sir.
And what was your rate of pay with the city?
$16.62 an hour.
And in the context of your employment with the city, did you have an employment contract?
Yeah, I haven't, yes, I signed a contract with them.
And did that contract have any term of employment?
Yes, it did.
What was the term?
It had a number of terms, I can't.
No, I'm saying, sorry.
Oh, you mean for the length of time?
Yes.
Oh, I don't believe so, no, I'm sorry.
So your understanding that in terms of your employment with the city, that you were an employee of well,
Mm-hmm.
is that a yes?
Yes,
Meaning that you could choose to resign at any time you wanted?
yes,
Meaning also that you could be fired at any time the city wanted to fire or terminate your employment, correct?
yes.
Do you view the parking enforcement officer position as a career opportunity?
I viewed it as a job that at the moment provided a great opportunity for my wife and my family and I to have a normal schedule for once. I viewed it as a job that I was gonna do my best at, and where it led to after that, I was gonna go with it if the opportunity was right for myself.
Okay, but when you say led to after that, am I correct in including that your intention was to either with the city of Keene or with some other employer, move on to some other position?
I had no intention at that moment. I had worked less than a year.
It was not, I'm not asking that, it was not your intention when you took that position to stay as a parking enforcement officer for the next 20 years, correct?
I honestly, sir, I don't know.
So you had no career plans at that point?
No, I was just happy to have a normal schedule after 8 years.
Sir, are you familiar with the ordinances of the city of Keene?
As far as which one, sir? All of them?
Yes.
No, I hadn't worked there long enough. I wasn't familiar with all of them.
You're familiar with the ordinances involving parking?
Yes,
And you also mentioned you had some law enforcement background,
yes.
and what was that, what in particular was that law enforcement background?
I was a military police officer for 8 years, and I also worked in corrections for 8 years.
And what education did you have in terms of law enforcement?
I had the military police academy, I had the corrections academy, I had, like I said earlier, I had various correspondence courses. We had in-service training.
Now, sir, you are familiar that there are criminal laws and ordinances that govern the conduct of people in public?
I'm familiar, I'm not sure exactly what they are, no.
You're not familiar what they are?
No.
Did you ever, in the course of your experience with the parking enforcement officer, ever have any contact with the Keene Police Department about what you believe to be violations of ordinances or criminal statutes?
Only if it pertained to me, I would ask them questions about what individuals were allowed to say and do to us.
Who did you speak to about that?
I spoke to a number of different officers. Sometimes it would be the captains. It depends who I saw when I walked through the halls that day.
So you raised questions with the captains as to whether or not your rights were being violated?
Yes.
And did you ever ask anybody in law enforcement to initiate any charges against any defendants?
I did not. I asked their advice on what I should do.
And their advice was not to proceed with the initiation of charges?
Their advice was, honestly, at the time, was to ignore it and that it would go away.
Well, to your knowledge, was any criminal statute violated by any defendants?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for a conclusion that this individual doesn't have the background to address.
Well, I think there's been some testimony about law enforcement background, we don't allow it to cross-examination.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, to your knowledge, were any criminal laws violated by any of the defendants?
To my knowledge, limited, although I was in law enforcement, I didn't study the law, yes, I believe there was, and that's why I posed these questions.
And were you told, though, that, did you ever ask the charges be brought?
I simply asked for what we're asking for today, for some space.
Was it well, were you ever asked whether you had a legal right to that space?
By who?
Did you ask, you said you spoke to a number of law enforcement officers about this.
Mhm.
You asked whether you were legally entitled to the space?
Of course. I
And
did ask them.
what was the response?
They said that, honestly, I continued to get the same answers of just ignore it and they would go away.
So they were saying, no, you were not?
I didn't say they said that.
Wow. So you never got an answer at all?
I honestly, sir, got the same answers, that it was just ignore it and they would go away.
But my question to you was whether you ever advised that people being in your space, as you described it, was a violation of any criminal law or any ordinance, city ordinance?
Objection, ask and answer.
Yes, and answer the question.
I answered it the best I possibly can. That was the response I got when I asked the questions.
So you were never told, you never got an affirmative answer that your rights in terms of violation of criminal law or criminal statutes had been violated?
I never got a definitive answer,
Affirmative answer.
affirmative answer.
describe yourself as being furious. Is that a fair summary of your emotional state?
That's a fair summary, sir.
Did you ever do anything or say anything vis-a-vis any of the defendants in acting upon your anger?
Yeah, I did, unfortunately, and that's why I left the job.
Can you describe some of the things that you said to the defendants in anger?
I told Mr. Colson on my day off if it didn't stop falling, sorry, that I was gonna knock him out.
You were to knock them out.
Mm-hmm.
Can you recall anything else you said to any of the defendants in anger?
In anger,